What are you looking at, butthead?
All right, Gone Girl from 2014. This is a super popular movie right now, and it's a movie that is so easy to spoil. It's kind of hard to talk about it without getting into the plot a whole bunch because, well, like I said, it's really easy to spoil a lot of it. And I wanted to watch this. It's doing really good in theaters. It's got a good cast and crew, and everybody's been saying really good things about it. And I wanted to see it to be able to talk to people about it. I never. It's based on a novel by Gillian Flynn. I didn't really hear of it being real popular as a novel, but once David Fincher signed on to direct it, and then they got Ben Affleck as the main protagonist, it got a lot of publicity. And I could be wrong, but I think that Ben Affleck got committed to the project kind of around the same time that they announced he was going to be the new Batman in the upcoming movie. So I kind of remember them being connected, Gone Girl and his announcement as the new Batman. But anyways, so David Fincher, he'd been working in television for a little bit. He was one of the creators and directors of House of Cards on Netflix with Kevin Spacey. He's been working on that. Then before that, he did the adaptation of another really popular novel, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which wasn't. I think it was received moderately. I personally liked the original Swedish version a lot better than his remake. It's a really good movie, but I just think the original movie was done a little bit better. But anyway, so that was a while ago. And then before that, of course, he did Social Network, which is an amazing movie still. So it was kind of his return to the movie. He hadn't done one for a while, like I said. And then Ben Affleck, of course, is on a big high right now in his career. Just directed and starred in Argo, which won an Oscar and stuff like that. So, and then his announcement as the new Batman and everything. So I guess I'll get into the plot a little bit as much as I can without spoiling it. So, story follows a couple, Nick and Amy Dunn. Ben Affleck is Nick Dunn. Amy is his wife, played by Rosamund Pike, who I recently just saw in Jack Reacher. She was in that, and a couple other things here and there. I wonder if this will, see her star rise a little bit more after this. I could definitely see that. So they're a couple. They meet in New York. They're both writers. He works for a men's magazine, and she works for like a Ask Amy column type thing. But anyways, we get most of their backstory through kind of flashback style. They meet in New York. They end up having some financial troubles once the recession hits, and they move back to Missouri, where Nick is from, and he opens up a bar, which he runs with his twin sister Margot, and they're just kind of leading a pretty low key life. They're not really doing much, and one day Amy vanishes from the house. Nick comes home. It looks like there's some sort of a struggle, and she's gone. Hence, Gone Girl. And so we have a couple detectives that come in. Detective Rhonda Boney and Jim Gilpin. They're played by Kim Dickens and Patrick Fugit. And they're trying to solve this mystery, and things slowly kind of get more and more intense. A lot more questions get raised the longer that Amy is missing. They can't find her. A little bit later, a big hotshot lawyer comes in to work with Nick. His name's Tanner Bolt, played by Tyler Perry, who's plays a different character than you're probably used to seeing him. He usually does the Medea character dressed as a woman, but he's pretty good in this. So he comes in later. Also, a couple other characters. Well, at least I'll mention one. Is one of a guy that used to know Amy when she was younger. His name's Desi Collins, played by Neil Patrick Harris. Of course, he's most widely known now from How I Met Your Mother or the Harold and Kumar movies. So those are our main characters. Like I said, can't really get into the plot much more because it'll spoil a lot of it There's lots of good twists and turns, a lot of interesting reveals. It works really well. So it's a a very good murder mystery, kind of like a whodunit type movie. That's how I like to think of it. So I don't really want to get into the plot much more. I just I'll talk about some of the a little bit more about the style of the movie, I guess. So it's probably the least stylized out of Fincher's films. I was watching it, the whole time in my mind I knew it was a David Fincher film, but I was thinking about it and I wondered if I didn't know that, if I would have even kind of picked out that it was by David Fincher. I think Zodiac is also a pretty low key film for him as far as style goes, but also has a pretty distinct color palette in that movie, a lot of yellows and stuff. And this is just kind of very straightforward. But I think that's on purpose. I think it's intentional so that you're kind of in the same mood as these characters are. They're, in Missouri, just kind of low key and stuff like that. Also, the music is very subdued, I thought, especially since it's by Trent Reznor again and Atticus Ross, who worked on a lot of Fincher's other movies. And yeah, their sound's usually very apparent on the score, but I thought here again it's a bit more subdued. So that was kind of interesting. Like I mentioned, it starts as like a murder mystery. It actually ends up turning into something a little bit different later on, which I really liked. It's very intriguing. It's enthralling. You get caught up into it the whole time. I mean, I wasn't bored a single second of it. The whole time you're just intrigued by what's going to happen next with these characters. It's very captivating. I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. It's very good. I definitely recommend checking out soon because, like I said, it's so easy to spoil, and you could just hear something from somebody and just get the whole plot spoiled. So, might as well check it out soon. It's definitely worth it seeing it in theater. A couple other things I noticed had to do with Neil Patrick Harris's character, and I won't get into specifics, but there's a couple things that happened I think towards the end. Some questionable things. You get a couple of questions, unanswered questions, and this is gonna be this is gonna be a really boring review because I can't even talk about these questions that are being raised. But so yeah, I guess I'll just stop there. I'll stop while I'm ahead. I think it's a very rewatchable movie. I think it'd be really, really interesting just because of what is going on in the plot. Rewatching everybody's performances. I think everybody's cast really well in the movie, especially Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. I think I read that Fincher cast Rosamund Pike because you can't really. She has like this like agelessness to her. She's like, I think she's actually like around 30, mid 30s, 35 ish, but you could kind of place her as being mid 20s to mid 30s. She's very beautiful and just you don't really know her age. But she gives a really great performance as Amy. And then, of course, Affleck as Nick is really good too. And they get a ton of, they have a ton of screen time, a lot to work with. So I think great performances by both of them. Neil Patrick Harris's role isn't as big, but he does a good job as well. So yeah, sorry that the review's kind of bland, but what are you gonna do with a movie like this? It's hard not to spoil it, and I'd say just go check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. I mean, can't go wrong with Fincher, Affleck, and I guess I'll mention also that Gillian Flynn that wrote the movie, she also wrote the book. She also wrote the screenplay for this, so I've heard that she did a really good job. There's a couple differences here and there between the movie and the novel, but I guess it's mostly faithful to the source material. But she also adapted it very well to the screen, so I would definitely check it out. Okay.